Hauntcast.
Haunting Halloween and horror.
Interviews with haunting gurus.
We won't keep you hanging in suspense to announce this episode's haunting guru guest. It's the creator of the original floating Max prop, and that's Max from Stranger Things. It's Dave Appel of Horrorprops. Yo, Dave, what's happening? It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hey, I didn't even realize that you're the man who was a sensation that was sweeping the nation with that floating Max prop that you did a couple of years ago. I mean, that thing, did that go viral?
My wife and I, when we posted it on TikTok, it was basically the beginning of Horrorprops. As you know, my friend Brian from Pumpkin Riot.
Absolutely.
He and I were kind of, setting up big that year, and we had the idea to go with the Stranger Things theme, and we kind of pitched it to him like, hey, man, what do you think if we did Max? And he goes, oh, yeah, you need to do that. So we ran with it. I didn't even want to post it on social media. I was kind of like, I don't want to get it big. I just want to do it small. I just want to do it for fun. And the minute it touched TikTok, it went super viral. It's probably got 500 million views at this point across all platforms.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, like I say, it was hard to not come across it. Like, you really would have to be like, not, using a landline and staying with you completely offline to have not come across that damn
thing. Who's on the line
because everybody was.
It is everywhere.
Yeah, I saw everybody was posting, how do I do it? And then everybody started copying you. Like, anytime you have a really cool prop idea, everybody starts kind of copying you and trying to do it, if it's within, reason, of course, but, of build, of people being able to build it and put it together. But, I just saw everybody posting. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but man, everybody is just chatting away about this and posting shit about it.
We thought it was cool too, but we had to it's like things like you do for anything. Like, I showed it to my parents first. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think? My mom's like, yeah, I don't get it. She goes, why are you trying to make your daughter float? Because Max at the time looked exactly like my 12-year-old.
Oh, really? Is she a redhead?
Redhead. I mean, we literally used her frame to model to make the Max prop. So Max is built directly off my daughter's frame structure. Her clothes too. We used her clothes for it.
Yeah.
And,
now is
people are just like, you're hanging your daughter?
The clothes for that were basically identical to what Max wore in that season, right?
To a T. And we got a lot of hate for the shoes because we used the real shoes. And I guess I'm not really a shoe guy. So a lot of people are bashing us. Be like, I can't believe you put those on that doll. I can't believe it. What are you doing? They're outside in the rain. It's like we drilled holes in them. We bought a couple pairs of those shoes and just wrecked them.
What were they? Were they Vans?
Vans. They were a specific type of Vans, or I'm pretty sure it's specific. I still don't even know.
What are they, like, discontinued?
Yeah.
Really hard to find.
Yeah. So doing the culture well, we just drilled holes in them and left them outside to sun bleach for 3 months.
You got to get them a little beaten up, a little worn down, a little distressed,
They look great.
Yeah. What was the rest of the body, the armature, the body? What? How did you build it?
Okay, so she was 100% pool noodles. We used jewel bags, depending on where you're from. Jewel is just our local grocer. So we used jewel bags and just stuffed her with jewel bags to kind of fill out her frame and keep her real light. The first year Max weighed about 5 pounds, but she was about 5'6", weighed about 5 pounds. The second year Max weighed 3 pounds, so we were able to cut a lot of material out and get her a lot higher. So she was hanging at about 16 feet high, and pretty well too, because she was so light. The wind didn't destroy her as much. So just pool noodles and bags, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about just like those little plastic shopping bags that they give you. They just the little that are getting banned in a lot of areas. So that's what you're talking about,
yeah,
right?
That's correct. and at the time, we didn't have to pay 10 cents extra for each one, so it was great. We just have them stuffed away under our cabinets.
I know there's two supermarkets in the area, and down here, in my area here on Cape Cod, there's like a Shaw's and a Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop charges you 10 cents for a paper bag because now they banned those bags down here.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
you can get a paper bag for 10 cents, or you go to the Shaw's, the other place, and they don't charge you for it. So now I seriously just on principle, I go to the other supermarket that doesn't charge me for the paper bags.
I know. I'm like, you listen. I'm willing to just steal these bags at this point. I don't care. But luckily for us, they're not. They don't push it too hard out here, and we don't get the surcharges like that. Everything's basically plastic bags here.
Yeah, and I get it because those things do come in handy. My whole my Sam prop, from Trick or Treat, he's a PVC armature, and his whole body is just stuffed with those bags. I just just kind of wrapped him around the PVC and just
It's
like
perfect.
a little and packing in that clear packing tape. And and he looks great, like it's so simple. No pool noodles in him whatsoever. They're all just those bags. I used to have tons of them.
I love that, underneath everybody's props, everyone who does the home hunt stuff, we all have the same ugly, thrown together core. Either PVC, some type of tubing, wrapped in bags, tape, foil. Every prop I know of has this, super ugly core. And then it's the finished product that really brings it together. They're like, what did you make it out of? And you're like, yeah, tape, glue, gum, whatever else I could find.
Old diapers.
Diapers. See her biceps? Those are diapers filled to the max. But it just, everybody kind of does that. It's more embarrassing to tell what they're made out of because it's not like you're some super genius. You're just like, this made it look good.
Yeah, anything I can to just stuff the thing and just to build it out, and it doesn't really matter because it only matters on the outside. It doesn't matter what's on the inside.
Not at all. Not in this case.
Yeah. And what about the head? Is that just a styrofoam head?
It is just a styrofoam head. Yes, and then with the Amazon wig glued on, we actually put almost no effort into her face because the viewing angle was from behind and to the side. So her eyes were bloodshot drawn, and then we painted her face a shade of tan, but it was not accurate whatsoever.
Yeah, once again, viewing angle.
Yeah,
I can't
16
see it.
feet in the air.
I've really gotten into that more as I go along. I stopped wasting time putting effort in detail and painting on what can't be seen. It just doesn't make any sense. You should see, I built this Cthulhu prop last year, and if you look at the back of him, you're like, oh, geez, you can't see the back. So I didn't put freaking detail on the back. I didn't coat the back. It's just it's just spray foam. I barely even painted the back because you can't see it, so it doesn't really matter. And that's the thing is if you can't see it, what's the point of putting extra effort into it? It doesn't really, you're wasting your time. You could be onto something else, working onto another prop and something else that you need to get to. But, and the other thing I guess, I needed to cover too, is how do you string her up? You were using, what was it, spider wire or something? I've never even heard of that before.
Yeah. So it took us about 13 different companies to find out that spider wire, translucent braided spider wire to be more specific, was the absolute strongest. And like every good home haunter, I make dumb mistakes all the time. And I was testing the tensile strength by wrapping around my fingers because, I'm going to be able to break this wire. And I pulled it down to the bone. That spider wire is so strong. We use, I think, 30-pound test. And it is resistant to water absorption, which monofilament is not, and I learned that the hard way. The sun does not dry it out and create the stretch as monofilament does as well. So it just had all the perfect properties of a long-distance, wire to rig with, and it worked out perfectly. We ended up adding 2 passes of it, so we did 2 30-pound test passes just for an extra safety string, because with some windstorms we did have one of the lines break. But that's all it took was some good fishing line by spider wire, and boom. I mean, you could really use that for any sort of hanging prop as long as it's under a certain weight. The lighter, the better. But it really was. Yeah,
so that's all it really is it's a special type of fishing line.
That's correct. Yeah. And we, just like everybody, we did Amazon. we just started buying from Amazon. Be like, okay, this company, this company, this company, this company, this company. And then I reached out to them too. I was like, look, I want to buy a lot of this. Like, how can I? They were like, who are you? No, just buy it off Amazon. And that was it.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's pretty much it. You have her hooked up from, is it just two? You have her like wired up in two places, like on her body? Like where are you connecting the wire on her frame?
So we ran the wire from our house right under our soffit to a street post in our cul-de-sac. And it was just the perfect distance, about 23 feet. And then we used a pulley, a little tiny pulley on top of 3/4 PVC pipe that we strung up the back of the light post to be hidden. And that pulley just kind of removed some of the friction. We ran the line down the post. So you're thinking from the house to the pulley, which is 16 feet in the air, then down the post to the ground. We used a corkscrew tent stake and would screw it into the ground and tension the wire until I could hear like a tune you'd hear like on a guitar string, so that it had the perfect amount of tension every time. And basically I could raise and lower her just by turning this corkscrew. And it just made it really convenient. So there was nothing really set in place, especially for wind. We'd have to take her down. So just corkscrew her out and wrap the line up.
So it was like one of those augers.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, you're thinking the right thing. Exactly.
Got it. Yeah, I use a couple of augers to as security for a few of my higher end props that I had actually purchased. I only have a few props that I've actually purchased from pro haunt vendors, and to make sure that they don't just end up walking away, I have a couple of those augers screwed into the ground right near them, and I have like some of these like plastic coated cable. With these little connectors that kind of lock it into place. They're kind of a pain in the ass to hook up, but yeah. So I have the augers. I've used them, and I mainly just for security. I've never used them to like as a way of pulling something up into the air or anything like that. So that's pretty badass.
We do the same thing though with like security, because also like we have some pro items and then we have a lot of spirit stuff, but I feel like if somebody's going to steal something, at least if they're destroying it while they can't use it themselves. So I've like tied things down towards like, good luck getting it out.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get it out, but you're going to really have a hard time. And then you're going to pretty much destroy it. And at least I'll know you didn't get to use it either.
Yeah. You don't have any problems with, have you ever had any problems with anybody trying to steal or break your props?
No, not yet. I mean, people touch things, which my wife and I have kind of just made peace with. I also always kind of tell the joke that there would be nothing better than being able to make a GoFundMe for saying, people stole all my displays and be able to rebuy everything. So it's like, we're kind of like, we know that it could happen, but it's not the end of the world. All of our pro stuff is like really secured down, and it's very few things. But to this date, it's just been kids touching stuff that's normal wear and tear, break stuff, and no theft of any sort. So fingers crossed that continues. Our neighborhood is very generous to us, and they're really supportive. So I hope that it stays that way.
That's cool. Now, the name Horrorprops was that a name of a like a side hustle business of yours, or did you just come up with that for your home haunt?
So no, it kind of goes back to the Max story with, I really didn't want to put anything on social media. We didn't even have a social media account. So we're like trying to think of names like before we post this Max video, like, okay, what would be a cool name? And one of the names was like Horror X Horror, or like the Horror People. And then I'm just like, let's just do Horror Props and get it over with. And she's like, okay, we'll do Horror Props. And then once we made that our TikTok handle, we kind of turned that into our business name. But our home haunt is a totally different name, which is just Infested Oaks, because we live in Whispering Oaks Court. So we thought, we'll call it the Infested Oaks, as most people do. They kind of play with their street names, their neighborhoods, or what their display is. Horror Props in itself was just a social media handle that we've turned into, what it is now.
Okay, got it. So people can, then when they see that, because I know I've seen the name on, I think that arch, you have that big arch out in front of the house. And I think I saw that on there, and I was like, oh, is that the name of your haunt? And I go, that doesn't seem like a haunt name to me, but you're just shilling your whatever you call it, your TikTok handle, right? You just try.
Exactly, buddy. Product. We know that people are going to take pictures in front of the arch because it kind of encompasses most of the cool things to look at in our home haunt.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, wouldn't it be just a good idea to put a LED sign on that so that it's like when people see pictures, like, oh, that's the Horrorprops house. I've heard about this, and it works. Literally, everybody's pictures have Horrorprops dead center, glowing bright red, and we couldn't be happier with it. It's exactly what we were looking for that sign up.
How far is Brian Huntress haunt? The Pumpkin Riot Productions haunt. How far is he from?
13 houses down. I mean, we literally are neighbors. He basically one year put a bat signal up with some witches in his front yard, and I was like, son of a bitch. I'm like, there's another guy in the neighborhood who decorates for Halloween, and then inevitably we stopped and talked to each other, and then it's like it's like two people addicted to the same thing. All of a sudden you just become like really, really, really involved with it. So we basically just amplified each other's yards instantaneously. He is so close.
Do you have a little playful competition between the two? Like friendly, competition, trying to outdo each other a little bit, or anything like that? Or
so we don't. Maybe to people who visit us, because we get asked that a lot. Everybody's like, "Oh, do you guys kind of like have competition?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that son of a bitch, like, oh, him, that type of thing." Very playful, but in reality, his haunt is so much different than ours in every way that it's so hard to even have a comparison, because he makes almost 100% of what's out in his yard, where we don't. We buy it too. We try and buy pro stuff. We buy spirit stuff, and we just kind of do what we do, and he does his thing. So it's really makes it hard to have that comparison. Although there is always joking with people who visit.
All December and January, he's down in his basement sculpting and creating new things, and I'm like, damn man, I need a break after Halloween. I do need a little bit of. I'm like working on my house and doing stuff that that I can enjoy all year round, and and I'm looking at him and I'm like, this dude is going overtime. Good for him, man. He's I got to get into sculpting. I keep saying that. I've talked to him about it, and I'm like, yeah. I really do. I do really basic one-off stuff where, he's sculpting and molding, casting, sculpting, and all that. So, he can replicate, and, he got something cool. He can then sell a bunch and make some money to help pay for his, his haunt, which is great. I would like to get to that point. I'm not there yet. I make things for myself. I'll have people hit me up. Hey, could you make one of those for me? And I'm like, it's like, I kind of do it for myself for fun. I can't, what I would have to charge, I don't even think they would want to pay, like for me, what I would have to charge to make another one of whatever it was they were asking for. And I'm like, maybe at a time where I'm retired and I do have like a side hustle business, I might attempt to do that, but I'm not at that point right now, where I would much have to have a much bigger shop, and I would definitely have to get into like sculpting, molding, and casting pieces so that I could turn out a couple of extras if I needed to, to sell a few and make a couple of bucks for my addiction, which is a good idea. Which is a good idea. Yeah.
Which it is. Yeah. We're kind of the same way. I think Brian is definitely more of the conventional way. He's using everything you said, the clay, the molds, all that stuff, and he's able to pour and re-pour. Whereas we kind of do the one-off thing as well. We really lean horror props into the home haunter category. We even have like a little fun series like, we're home haunters. Of course we do this. Of course we do that. Because the truth is like at this point in our lives, that's really all we have time for, and what most people have connected with us over. So we're doing a lot of one-offs, and in inspiration of Brian, this year we started building early. Basically, once January hit, we started doing a Real Monsters trio with Oblina, Ickis, and Crumb, if you're familiar with the old 90s cartoon. And it's just like, we put, I think, 40 or 50 hours into 2 life-size characters, and it's only February, 15th or 16th now. So it's just like, is it tiring doing it all year round? Yeah. And that's like not even our business model. That's just for social media content. We do the horns, that's kind of like our business model. We do horror horns. And then we do a lot of custom one-off props for people using air dry foam clay rather than like modeling clay. It's just so much cleaner. It's a lot a lot more forgiving time-wise. You can sand. Corrections are much easier. And it's, yeah. If I didn't say cleaner, it's cleaner. Holy crap.
I've just gotten into foam clay over the last year or so, and I really like, I mean, for affordability factor and ease of use and how lightweight it also is, it's a great material.
Exactly.
I wish it was a little cheaper, but it's not like it's not overly expensive. It's, you know, it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I buy a lot of Smooth On products, so compared to Smooth On, it's a bargain compared to some of the Smooth On products. I'm big into Freeform Air, if you've ever come across that, and the Habitat Flex is another great product, but it's pricey, you know. And I got people who ask me all the time, "Hey, what'd you make that out of?" And I'm like, you know, Smooth On Freeform Air. Oh, that's expensive. Well, then don't use it. I don't know what you're like. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You asked me what I made it out of. I told you, and then you're complaining to me that it's expensive. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to buy it. I just told you what I made it out of. You know.
Yes, and that we literally came across that too when we first started doing prop making on social media, and we kind of threaded that needle with like being like, okay, let's not try and be something we're not, and just use things that people would be able to buy from Michael's, Amazon, you know, lots of foil, like I was saying, tape and bags. And it just, when we get asked those questions now, we can easily just be like, oh, Amazon, this is the link. This is what we do. You know, we've even talked about getting ourselves an affiliate with Amazon because it's just such an easy way to passively make a couple extra dollars on the side by just redirecting people to the same materials we're using as home haunters.
Yeah.
And it makes them happy too, because they can connect with you so much better. And that's kind of what we're going for, just kind of setting the standard of like, you know, these new families, make yourselves home haunters. Let's build this Halloween, you know, holiday up.
Yeah.
And take out Christmas, because I'm not a Christmas guy at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I like to build. Like my creativity and my passion is geared towards building Halloween horror type props, not Christmas. I could do Christmas stuff, and I've taken a look at some things, and I go, you know what? I probably should do. I'm planning on moving somewhere within the next couple of years, so I need to really start thinking about what I'm going to be building even this year, because I have to pack things up to move. And like, what can I take with me? What can I take with me? I'm going to have a pod I'm going to have like a 16-foot pod thing for my house to pack in. And then I'm going to have another 8-footer or so container just to like pack my haunt into to take. And you know, and I'm already starting to look at what do I have to get rid of? Like, I'm going to have to start, you know, my columns aren't going to be coming with me. My gates aren't going to come with me. All those I built years ago anyway. So I guess I could change it up. I do need to kind of change certain things up with my haunt as it is. But I have to start now thinking about like, what am I going to build? Because I have to move this shit soon. I need to be able to pack it up, like my Cthulhu and a couple of the props that I built, even my sycamore tree creature. I'm like, those things are freaking huge. And I'm like, if I build, I wanted to build a Dagon from Lovecraft, like a big fish type of god creature. And I'm like, oh man, that was on my list this year. And I'm like, well, it all depends on what happens this year. You know, whether I decide to pull the trigger. I'm looking to go out more towards, I have 2 kids who live in Chicago now. So I'm looking to go out to that area. Yeah, they live out near one of my daughter, and she got married recently. She lives near Wrigley Field, not too far, like about a 20-minute walk or something. And then my son lives kind of closer to Rush Hospital, so and he works at Rush. So I'm like, you know, I'd like to be closer to them. So I'm starting to and I've been wanting to get out of the Northeast forever. So I want, and shit, the Midwest is like a mecca for pro and home haunts out there. And I'm like,
man, it's crazy that
it is so much out there that I'm like, it's attracting me to want to get out to that area. And I'm actually going out. I'm going to scout out like the Kentucky area. And anyway, but regardless of that, the foam clay stuff is great. I've been using a lot of that. Is there any other materials that you use a lot of that you find that you like you go to it more often than not?
So the foam clay is our biggest thing for sure. The two props that we just finished this past month were both foam clay, and we do a lot of like paper mache, for lack of a better term. Like we're using a lot of Mod Podge and blue shop towels with like a chicken wire frame. It's so easy. It's very, it's very cost effective. I think is the or time very easy to do and very quick. And that's really it. We just anything we can throw together to make it look like something. People use the insulation boards for structures. We're pretty big on that type of thing, and as well as everyone else, great stuff. The expanding foam. That is just
what can't you do with it? Is that
the best material ever? I wish they'd literally make like haunt-sized cans because I don't know what they're doing with these 8 or 10 ounce cans here. I need some double barrel. You have to buy 55-gallon drum cans.
Seriously, look at buying it by the case, to get a good deal. Look at like trying to get cases of it. The Loctite foam is now my new favorite. I depending on what I'm doing with it, it's either the great stuff or it's the Loctite. If I need to kind of pat it down and kind of sculpt or like mold it a little bit, then the Loctite is what I go to. And then if I just feel like I'm going to spray it on, and then I might just use a rasp or a knife or shave it a little bit to if I need to shave it that way, then I'll go with the great stuff. So a lot of times I'll use a combination between the two, depending on what I'm working on. So yeah, I bounce back and forth. Great stuff is just any of this expanding foam is absolutely. Oh, a question, Mod Podge. What the shop towels in Mod Podge? Is Mod Podge is it like more water resistant, or is it better than other types of glues that just like using like White Elmer's glue or something? Does Mod Podge add something to the build?
So, Mod Podge for one is you can just buy it in bulk, much bigger at Michael's and all that. And also, I believe it is, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it is more water resistant. I've heard a few people throw that my way, so I'm going off of that alone there. But okay. It's just so versatile for us. We just love the way it dries. It makes everything basically waterproof, water protected. It's a great way to cover like things that chemically don't mix. Like, anybody's ever put glue on a foam board and watched it eat it away. Brush a little Mod Podge on that board first, dries clear. So it was one of those things that we started using and then initially just stuck with it for no benefit over another brand, perhaps like, Elmer's versus Mod Podge. But man, for us, we use it on everything. It's probably one of the most used materials we have. It's just so great to use.
That's good to know. Like I said, I always learn new things from talking to people. So
everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah. And I always like to try things out and see, hey, will this work for me? Is this something? Then sometimes I'm like, it's a game changer, and sometimes it's like, no, I prefer the other way I was doing it, or another material. But I always like to try some things out from people's recommendations.
I mean, we take all, I don't want to say we don't take our ideas. We take all of our building techniques from, other people who do kind of what we do online, especially like Stilpy Studios. That's kind of the guy that we watched on YouTube first that really got us, if you're familiar with Alan Hops. He really kind of got us into that building mindset. He's very like, look, you take A, you put it with B, and boom, you got C. And it's just like, yeah, I understand that. Okay, and what kind of materials does he use? And he used pool noodles, Mod Podge, the simple stuff. So we kind of just stuck with that because it just worked so well.
Yeah, if you don't know who Alan Hops is, you are living under a friggin' a tombstone or something. Like you. I agree. It's like you can't not know who friggin' Alan Hops is. If you are looking around online to build props, you find Stilpy Studios. I find myself, I skimmed, I don't watch his whole videos. I skim through to the parts that I need to know, like right where it's like, a specific technique or a specific product that he's using. And then once I get the piece of information I need, I'm like, I'm off. I'm like, got what I needed. I've learned the Loctite foam was a game changer. And that came from Alan, him talking about how to make masks and sculpt heads and stuff out of the Loctite foam was an absolute freaking game changer. I absolutely love that stuff now and buy it all the time. So, what is some, so your haunt, you do not try to be, you're not influenced by other haunts typically. You like to just come up with ideas and concepts on your own and then just kind of do your own thing completely different from whatever anybody else is doing. Is that kind of your thing?
Yeah. And I'm sure most people do try to do that. And there's some things like, because we're buying from Spirit Halloween, we have a lot of the same props that other people have. But with we did the terror dogs from Ghostbusters this year. And it was like, yeah, the terror dogs are cool, but I bought those. So how do I make those a little bit more wow? And I built the Ghostbuster firehouse stands for them that smoked. So they were able to sit 3 feet higher and kind of be right in your face. So I try to take pop culture things that I know people in my age bracket would enjoy and make that something that is different than what you'd see out there normally. And that's kind of the range that we shoot on all the time. We have just literally a whiteboard in our bedroom that has about 20 ideas, and then we start putting down little notes will not work. Can we do this now? Are we able to, what does it say? Yeah, let's maybe see if we can get this done by the end of Friday. And if we don't, we literally scrap the idea because we're it's taking too long. So we just throw ideas, see what sticks, and try to be different as much as we can.
Now, was that your theme last year? Was it a Ghostbusters Killer Clown mashup, or was it only Ghostbusters?
So
what did you do last year?
We do a 3-year rotation. So Killer Clowns has kind of been in our haunt for about 3 years. So this year coming up, 2025, we probably will have little to no Killer Clowns at all. Ghostbusters was the new item that we started bringing in. So this year we'll have a lot more Ghostbusters themed things. I really want to do a Marshmallow Man who's kind of exploded all over our property. So I'll kind of have using probably great stuff. I'll have, bits and pieces of marshmallow, maybe a marshmallow arm, a hand made out of air dry foam clay to the large scale. So it's we kind of do that sort of thing. We also had some, what else we have this year? We have a jungle theme, and I don't really know where we're going with that, but we love making vines, realistic vines. So we use that as kind of a starting block of a new idea. How do we bring more of this jungle vibe into the haunt without interfering with what we want to do with Ghostbusters. This year also we know that Stranger Things is supposed to re-release with their final season. So we know for sure that we have to do Max this year and somehow make Stranger Things work as well. So we'll have these little quadrants of displays that they could intermingle with each other, but it's really just so people can kind of come out and be oh, look at this from this. And we hide things. We have Easter eggs out there too. So there's a little alien theme here. There's a Chucky theme here. There's a Ghostface Scream theme here. But we really don't touch on it more than just single items that we've made. And a lot of kids come out. We stand outside of our haunt on the weekends when it's open. And we literally hand out candy and just talk to people and say hey, did you catch this? And the kid will be oh, no, I didn't see that. So we've really just started running into this phase where it's a little bit of everything, but organized is the best way to put it. So where we brought in Ghostbusters this year, you're looking at the Slimer on top of the archway. You got the Terror Dogs, and then a few other little Ghostbuster things. But we even plan on doing more this upcoming year to expand on the ideas of things that we just didn't do. It sucks because we really trashed a lot of ideas too, because we want to do so much. I don't want to do one theme and just build up and build up and build up. I want to change. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place. If I can't satisfy that demon, I will never stick to one plan. I will literally be doing blue over here, and then I'm we're doing brown here. I have to really just do everything I can, make everything work, and that's it.
Now the Terror Dogs, those were Spirit Halloween items? Is that right?
Oh yeah, man.
When were those? I guess I don't pay a lot of attention to Spirit because I build most of my own stuff. I pretty much everything I do I build. I know I kind of got to that point, but like I say, so a lot of times I don't pay attention to all the cool stuff that they have. And I saw those dogs and I was like, wow, those things are badass. I didn't realize. When were they selling those? Was that last year?
Okay, so they started selling them 2 years ago, but naturally they were sold out. And so I waited a year and was just literally scrolling on Spirit's website in like August, and boom, they were back in stock, and they were fucking expensive. If I can say the F word on this, I'm dropping it. They were expensive, but I kind of was preparing for this purchase, so I just called my wife and was like, "Hey, we need the Terror Dogs. This is going to be the entrance to our home lawn."
Yeah.
And so we bought the two, and that literally, they're great. When they arrived, they're super great quality. They're like a hard foam. So I thought they were plastic, and I was still okay with buying them. But I was very elated to find out that they were like a nice spray foam with latex over it, and they're great.
Cool.
We took care. We brought them in every night too. We never left them outside. Every single night we brought them in.
That is one of those things that was probably blew your budget, right? For the year, was that kind of like almost blew your budget for those two guys, for the two dogs?
Oh, you know what, man? Just because we try to be very transparent, we've been very fortunate with social media. Social media started paying for our home hunt.
Oh,
so we are able to use funds from our posts. I think like this year, I think we did almost 200 million views just on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So we were able to take what we've made off social media and like kind of the support of everybody and put it right back into our home hunt to kind of, it's cheesy to say give back because that's not really what we're doing. We're just kind of, satisfying our inner child, but we're able to take the money we're using and put it out there and buy really cool stuff that people really enjoy. So like it sits in storage while we're not using it. And then we're able to buy cool stuff with social media money to kind of, have everybody look. It's cool.
Do you make money off of Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Do you? I didn't even know that you could make money off of Instagram. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I don't know what the guidelines are.
Okay.
I don't know. It's usually something over 10,000 followers, a certain amount of watch hours per week. And I'm making this up because like this is just what it is for like TikTok and YouTube.
But the floating max is what got you to probably that point where then you could monetize your channel, right? Was that kind of like
on TikTok it did. Okay. On TikTok we were able to monetize with the floating max. Instagram we started late. I think we just gained naturally. I think we gained 10,000 followers our first year just because people were following us. Because like, if they're on TikTok, we need to follow their Instagram. So from that, we built it up to 50,000 last year. And then at like June of last year, the bonus program became available to us. We hit some milestone. So we joined the bonus program. And then I was like, you know what? F TikTok. I really don't like TikTok, and it's what it is. It's like QVC for people who are bored.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It doesn't really fill out our bracket anymore. But Instagram, I love it. So we pushed hard. We put up one video of Max that was like 9 seconds long. It got 91 million views, and we gained like 100,000 followers right then and there. So we went from like 50 to 144,000. I think we're at now from June to September.
Wow!
So we gained like 90,000, and that right there flooded our bonus program. So we were able to just bank on it as much as we could, buy as many props as we wanted to for our display. And,
nice.
Yeah, we're very, super fortunate, very happy about it.
Oh, that's great.
And very thankful too.
Yeah. I put out a video. I did the the Legendary Haunt Tour, and when I was up at the Haunted School and Lab up in I think it was Akron, Ohio, they had a lights on, and I went through with my phone and I took a bunch of video from some of the rooms. And one of the videos I posted, it was about this this torso that was like basically the head, the arms. It was just like the torso was like hanging there on chains, and there was this like creature coming out of the water, this snake, spider, snake or worm-like type creature that was like snapping up at it, like as if it ate off all of its limbs. And the thing went fucking crazy, and all I have people like every time I check in, I've got all these new followers, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, I'm used to just getting, I don't know, just a handful of likes on most of my prop videos that I post up or my pictures. But this one thing went completely crazy. I haven't checked how many followers I have recently, but things just took off. And I'm like, it was just a stupid little video. It wasn't even anything I built. I just shot this thing at this pro haunt with the lights on after hours, whatever. It was pretty cool.
It's so fun. It's so fun though. Like, I mean, having like we have a cat. Like we say things go viral in our house. At least I have 1 million views. Yeah. So we count 1 million views as a post that's starting to go viral of any sort. And it's just become something that was a lot of fun. It's really cool to have that sensation of like, wow, people are enjoying this, what we're doing, like whether it be shooting blood at, Art the Clown or building the alien egg pod and having like goo drip off it to the Ghost theme song with whatever that movie is. But like those things just became so fun to do that we really hit it hard and tried to go viral as much as we can to gain the following. And that's really what you got to do. It's post consistency. And unfortunately for being in the Halloween haunt community, not everyone in the planet is into Halloween all year round.
No.
So we see those peaks and valleys.
Oh yeah, you get that drop off, which is things will start now that Trans World Haunt Show is coming up at the in the next couple of weeks, or it will already have passed when people hear this. That's when people start to kind of get poke their head back out from under the rock. They're like, they're crawling back out of the crypt kind of a thing. And you'll start to get a lot more action. Like I even know now, like I haven't been putting out, podcasts every week, which I usually do like every Friday, because I just see such a drop this time of year. And I'm like, you know what, let's just put one out like a couple, 2, 3 a month. And then we'll get back to doing one a week, as we get into March, April, when people start really starting to get back into things again, So, props that you've made completely all your own. What like give me what's one of your favorite props or ones that you get the best prop that you got the best reaction from that you've completely done, like you and your wife have done completely all on your own?
Okay, so I'm gonna say aside from Max, I think the props that we've probably done that we like the most would probably be what we made. So we did the spires. Oh, actually, I lied. The archway for sure. And I know that's not necessarily like a molded character, but we did the archway and we did a demonic chair entirely out of pool noodles. And it was the first time that I kind of let myself just try to be, quote unquote, an artist rather than like making something. Like, I took the time to spin the noodles around each other to make these cool spires, and the demonic chair has these cool horns, totally out of pool noodles. And I think that from start to finish, and the public's like opinion on them were just so great. It was so much fun. I'm super, super proud of the chair and the archway. I love the horns on the archway. Some lady drove past our house and was like calling us the devil. So I'm like, oh, you want to see? I was like, you want to see devil? I'm like, well, I'm going to add horns to this archway. And when we did, people were like, oh my God, dude, like you have horns in the archway too? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this lady pissed me off, so I put horns on it. So I'm just super proud of that stuff. But like the Our Real Monsters that we actually been making this past month, Oblina, which is a like candy cane figure, and then Crumb, which is he holds his hands in his eyes. He can hold his eyes in like 4 different places. You can put him on his tongue. You can put him in his mouth. You can just change his whole face around. And it's kind of us exploring and becoming better builders and, having more original ideas rather than just saying, I made this figure exactly the way it looks. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve. So I'm happy with the way we're going with things, but definitely the archway and the chair are probably my 2 proudest things.
Now I have a throne, and I keep saying, "Oh, I got to do something with this damn throne. I've got to like either paint it up or cover it with like sticks or something." And then I saw yours, and I was like, "Oh, that looks killer!" And I could definitely steal that from you and utilize it, like and do my chair throne up that way. Give me some tips on how you did the pool noodles, like. adhesive? Do you just melt them together? Like, what? Tell me how you did it.
So for the pool noodles on the chair, the backing is a 1-inch thick foam insulation board, just so that you can have foam to foam and have good contact with foam glue. And then the pool noodle, you literally start at the base of the chair and build it up. And I would get one going and kind of like, okay, so there's one horn on the right side and there's one horn on the left side. I like the length. I like where they're at widthwise from each other. And then I would just start adding one noodle, two noodle, build it up slowly, take steps back. I think the archway took me 50 hours. The chair took me about 20, because it's a lot of like, put one pool noodle there, twist it around. I use mechanics baling wire to kind of sew them together so that there's not a lot of glue protruding up the thing. And it's in a couple of our videos. It's a little hard to explain, but you basically set the wire in such a way that when you pull it through, it acts like a hook. Then you hook it back in, and they're pulling each other together. And it's just very convenient and very quick. But one noodle at a time is the best way. Take a step back. I like the way it's going. Okay, add a noodle here. Tie it in place. Okay, I like the way it's going. And I just did that one piece at a time.
For adhesive, what are you using?
I'm using the Loctite, like caulk gun style foam glue.
Okay.
That you could buy at like any hardware store. It doesn't eat through the foam, and it doesn't have any sort of chemical reaction. And that's really just to kind of make sure that the bottoms of the noodles, that would be where your lower back would be while sitting in a chair, are really cemented in, and there's nothing that could poke or stab people. Because we allowed people to sit in that throne our first year. So it made in a horrific line. There was literally like a 3-hour line to get into our driveway just because of that stupid chair. So we stopped letting.
That was like a photo op chair for people.
And everyone wanted it. We called it Vecna's chair the first year, and everyone wanted to sit in it, and it made the worst traffic jam possible. And I'd have to tell people, like, guys, you don't have to wait in this line. And everybody's like, no, we want to. And I'm like, oh. Go ahead and wait. I'm like, go for it. And it was hours long. But
that's great.
Yeah, like Loctite right in the back of the noodles for the foam board, and then using the wired structure to just kind of pull the noodles together as you twist them up, if you're going for that sort of like organic, angled look. But yeah, it's pretty easy to, one at a time is probably the best way to describe the way to do it, because it's depending on what you're going for.
It's complete patience. Just be patient.
It's patience. It's patience.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Better way to say it.
Yeah, excellent. The alien egg, when did you build that?
So right after Romulus came out this past summer, being a huge alien, fan and all that stuff, we're like, we got to make this alien egg. So it turned out cool. It smoked. I was like, it needs to be something more. And we found this glue goo, literally called, I think, Elmer's Goo, G-U. The stuff looks like slime secretion, and when it dries, it also dries that way. So it had these amazing drips on the side. And the video, really funny, going back to social media and how it kind of works. When I posted that video, I chose a song that was like, a little bit more popular, and the video just tanked. I changed it to a different song that I thought would be a little bit more funny with the goo dripping off it, and the video just went off just because of the song change. But just the way that the goo dripped off it, mixing with the song from the movie Ghost with Kevin Costner, or not Kevin Costner, who the guy died with hid cancer. But just adding those two elements together just made it such a fun project and video. Because it was just a simple egg, but it needed that flair of like the goo.
Yeah, that was one of my questions that I had actually written down. What is that glue? What is that goo that you were using? Because
Elmer's Goo, G-U.
Goo.
And we had a lot of people in the haunt community reaching out to us, like the pro haunt community, saying like, "Oh, this is my secret." They're like, basically, I hope no one ever really finds out about this, because it's a great way to add that slimy, gooey texture. And if you're doing something live, it peels off of your prop very easy. So the alien egg is made out of a paper mache with great stuff and chicken wire. We paper mache
chicken
around
wire.
to kind of give us Yeah, and just to make it like a smooth surface.
That's where I actually started building props using chicken wire. And I've got a couple of props out in my yard that are almost completely, like PVC armature or wood armature with chicken wire, wrapped around it, because you can mold it. I mean, it's kind of it's one of those things that it is the devil. It is the little pointy piece of metal poking. Oh, it's horrible to work with.
To work with.
It's easy in some instances, but a complete nightmare in others, because it hurts your hand so bad. And you can't really wear gloves when you're working with it, or they have to be really tight gloves to work with, because it's just harder to like shape and pull. You have to kind of like grab like sections of it and pull it in to shrink some of the area down. You know what I'm talking about. Like, I know it's hard for me to explain it, but
it's hilarious.
Right,
yeah, you're right. You're right on. Aubrey was doing like some of the chicken wire work by herself on a different project. And she like came in the house because she didn't want to wear gloves. She had to bend the wire through the fingers, and she looked like she had just been bit by like a snake. She just had all these little puncture wounds from the end of the sharp chicken wire all over her hands. And I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Why didn't you stop?" And she was like, "I got it done." And I was like, "Oh my God." Yeah, it just cut her up so bad. And it is not fun to work with. It's not, it doesn't give you like a sense of completion when you're done. You're just like, shit. Like,
it is very lightweight, though. That's a bonus. And
very lightweight.
You just give it a coat. You give it a coating. You have to coat it with something like, because you don't want the texture of the wire, showing through. So you have to. I think you use the Mod Podge and the blue shop towels to paper mache the skin on it. I usually we'll either tape or wrap, either use that cheap, kind of paper, whatever you call that. Yeah. Like kind of almost like tan paper tape, whatever it's called, or just the clear, plastic packing tape, and cover it with some paper, just newspaper, like a couple of sheets of newspaper, and just tape around it, just so you can't, so that won't show through, so the texture of the wire won't show through when you coat it with either paper mache or whatever else, monster mud over it, to cover it. But yeah, when I saw that video of you making the egg, and I'm like, oh man, I've done this so many times, and and I could feel the pain in my hands just watching the video.
Exactly. And it's like, for a lot of the technique we use, we actually have to change sometimes, even when we don't want to, because it makes the videos, like, speaking from a video basis, it makes them boring to watch the same thing over and over. So it's like, where we love this method sometimes, we have to change and be like, okay, well, we already did this twice. Even with our siren head, he was kind of the same thing. We could have just used chicken wire and made a tube, but we actually ran to Home Depot and bought a dryer vent, just to be like, we're not using the same thing anymore. So we found a 3-inch dryer vent tube and just made that his neck and stem, to kind of just solve the solution of using chicken wire again.
What's the concept behind the siren head? I don't. Was that something that is that from a movie, a show, or what is that from?
So it's from. There is a specific writer, and I'm not going to get into that side of things. And I only say that because I was corrected multiple times on social media because of it. But it was an old YouTube video from like 2017 of this character from Creepypasta, where a 40-foot siren head would be walking through the forest and basically steal kids and eat them. We loved the idea of it, and we made one in 2020 when the first giant skeleton came out from Home Depot. We couldn't get our hands on it, so we were like, you know what, 12-foot skeleton, I don't give a shit. We're going to make a 16-foot siren head. So we made like a 400-pound siren head out of PVC pipe, and he was so dangerous. He was huge, but he was so dangerous because he weighed so much that this year we bought a skeleton from Home Depot and turned it into the siren head, and kids just love him. He has a tornado siren for like his speech, which is the Chicago tornado siren, and it's very, very eerie. So kids would come to our house and they would lose their minds over him. Above everything else in our yard, Siren Head had the most connection with like younger kids who watch YouTube. And
Okay, so kids got the creepy pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got it.
And
Okay.
parents were like, my kids had no idea. They're like, I have no idea what's happening here. They're like, we got out of the car, we walked up to your house, and they're like, my son said he heard Siren Head, and she's like, he's losing his mind. And I'm like, oh, well, we're glad. Like, yeah, we love him too. So it was just one of those things that is on YouTube lore that we decided we would do, and we love every second of him. He's awesome.
And the big popcorn containers, you also made those? You built those?
Yes.
Yeah. And how were those?
They were like, those were foam insulation board. We wanted a project that we could kind of get our followers engaged with. So we're constantly on Facebook, and we're doing like Instagram stories and TikTok stories that were like asking people like, how big should it be? Should there be blood on it? What color should we paint it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was kind of like one of those like community projects to kick off for a year. And we just thought that the popcorn bucket, also having a jump scare availability. So we cut a hole out in the back. We put a ladder inside of it so you could climb this like, staircase inside and jump scare people at our home on. And it tied in with our killer clowns. But it was entirely the foam, like the 1/2-inch foam insulation board, which is extremely cheap out here for us. And super lightweight project. They're huge. They're in a storage unit. They're so hard to store.
Yeah.
But they were a fun, simple project. And a couple people have done it. We found videos of people making them on social media. And I'm just glad people kind of dove into it. It's very versatile for a lot of home haunts. So it's kind of like one of those projects that we specifically did just to have other people either make, recreate, or do it with us. So they were super fun to do.
So do you have a storage unit to put your haunt in? Do you kind of store everything?
Our first year. Yeah, this is our first year. We held out for 2 years.
Yeah.
I still have a 16-foot demonic archway in my backyard, though, which is badass. I wish I was the neighbors behind my house because they all get to look at it all year. Along with our chair. Our chair's in the backyard, but everything else from our home on, 100% of it is in a 20-foot storage unit that is full to the brim.
Nice. Hey, and you've actually got some accolades here. You were featured. Your haunt was featured on TMZ. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. TMZ.
When was that?
That was in 2022. So 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Man, we did the circuit when Max went viral. We kind of said to ourselves, we can either let this just blow over and die, or we're going to do as many interviews as possible to just kind of like see where we can get this going. So that led to every news outlet, every media outlet. We were on the Kelly Clarkson show. We were on Drew Barrymore's show. We did, TMZ, Access Hollywood had us stuff.
Damn.
It was really wild, man. It made it everywhere.
Damn, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a lot of exposure. So now, were you sending this out to all of these different places? Where they didn't find?
No one.
You didn't send it out to
All on their
anybody.
own.
They just found you. They found you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Wow.
They found us. We woke up one morning, and right when Max had gone viral and we had the problems with the neighbors, it was like 13 news trucks outside of our house and like down the street and parked out the neighborhood waiting to just kind of like talk and like figure it out. And we did an interview with everybody. And I think from that, other news outlets were kind of like, oh, they're good in front of the camera and they're, this. So I think it picked us up a little bit more because a lot of these places would kind of be like, oh, I'm going to get you in contact with them. Or, oh, we heard that they were talking about you here, so we want to do a little shot for you here. And it just blew up to where we did everything. And it was fun. I'm glad. I don't regret it because that stopped the next year. We got like just a few news outlets local. And I'm glad we did it. It was a fun life experience to be able to do.
Yeah, that is pretty kick-ass. And because you have the personality, because you're a fellow DJ, are you not? Did I come across you are?
Yeah. DJ producer. I did it for like 12 years under the alias Kedzie, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I didn't get to the.
Yeah, what were you doing? Like nightclubs and that type of stuff? Were you like promoting and DJing, working clubs and things like that, or what?
So I toured the country. I did shows all over the country, one-offs here and there. Played Vegas on Halloween a few years back, and then I did like Seattle, Oklahoma, LA, and I got signed to a record label because I was making my own music also. So I was signed for a while to a Canadian label, released a few tracks on like Spotify and all that good stuff. And then once COVID hit, I was scheduled to do a sold-out show at the Aragon Ballroom here in Chicago with my label and some other guys who were off of it. And yeah, once COVID hit, all the shows kind of stopped. And I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm like, I've been doing this like 25 years musically. Yeah. So I was like, time to move on. And then we did the home hunt stuff and right back into it.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a chance to channel your creativity and you get to focus that passion into something else, something else you're passionate about. So you can put your energy there. So what are your plans for this year?
So this year, we're a little worried because we do plan to do the Max again. Our association didn't mess with us this past year where we've had problems in the past. So we're a little nervous because we're going to do some Stranger Things stuff and it's going to bring a lot of the crowds back. We plan to build up off of Ghostbusters, as I was saying. We have big plans to try new things. We're only 3 years into this home hunt stuff, seriously, taking it very serious and trying to outdo ourselves. So we're going to try and push ourselves into like new categories of like, building scenery, backgrounds, more props that may not be major to the eye, like making stuff up like a little can here, a little can there, little things here, little effects. Because we know that the world is kind of watching what we do around Halloween time, and we kind of want to show what we can do. Moving away from like spirit stuff, we kind of want to put our name out there through our social media and our home hunt. So it's going to be a lot more technical builds. What all the themes are yet, I truly don't even know. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding you when I say we have a whiteboard in my bedroom with ideas all over it because we don't know.
Yeah. You got the feel for it. You've got the eye for it. So build more original stuff. I want to see you build more original stuff. I want to definitely see your progression. I mean, you got talent. It's obvious, and you've only been into this a couple of years. So I'm looking forward to, seeing you as you continue to build new stuff and progress. And by the way, speaking of that, where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
If you want to stalk me, you can stalk me on Instagram first, please, which would be at HorrorPropsDave. And then everywhere else, just at HorrorProps. TikTok, YouTube, every app you can possibly find, we are there as HorrorProps. Instagram, unfortunately, somebody owns HorrorProps before us. So it's HorrorPropsDave there. And that's where all of our most up-to-date content will be. Everything we're doing publicly will be at Transworld. And then we have a bunch of fun things coming up that we'll be a part of that we just kind of can't talk about yet.
Yeah, you'll be at the Midwest Haunters Convention, I would assume, since it's in your backyard.
Yeah. We'll also be vending for the first time at East Coast Haunters Convention this year.
Oh, good. I'll be there.
So we'll be there. We already have our booth. So we'll meet. I'll get to meet you.
We'll be at the hang. Johnny Thunder and I will be there. We got the booth. We'll be hanging out, talking, shilling the podcast. I don't know if I'm going to do a booth at Midwest. I'm definitely going up there because it gives me an excuse to get up and see the kids too, which is nice. It's like halfway to Christmas almost.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's a good,
it's
a good, I could get to see them. I was just up there in Christmas and now I get to see them again, so it's like a 6 month in between, but so definitely will be so I'm going to see you at both. I'll see you at East Coast and I'll see you at Midwest. So you can hit you up on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those, all the things that kids are on nowadays.
For as long as TikTok's around.
Look up Horrorprops and you're gonna find you. Oh, and Dave, I feel like we've slighted your wife there. So your wife's your partner in slime over there, correct?
100%. Yeah, her and I, it's 100% effort from both of us.
It's Aubrey?
She's actually working on props now. Yeah, it's Aubrey.
Yeah, I mean, I see her in all the videos and pictures, so it's like, she's not like keeping herself hidden by any stretch. I just feel like, I didn't even.
No, she has no choice because somebody has to do it while somebody's filming. So it's like as soon as I film for like a short amount of time, I turn the camera off, then I help her, then we do it together, and then I turn the camera back on, and it's always just her. So it's kind of like the dynamic we have going on at this point, but it works.
Nice. All right, dude. So I will catch you at the East Coast Haunters Convention.
Yeah, man. We will see you there.
Catch you there.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Please like, subscribe, comment, give us a 5-star review, share with friends, and buy us a beer if you see us out in the wild. Follow us on Instagram at hauntcast.podcast for show updates as well as more pictures and video content. Also, like and follow our Hauntcast Facebook page. Listen to the audio podcast available on all podcast platforms with over 550 segments now available. Until next time, stay scary.
But I can't leave them, I can't. Yes, go. You live.